last night I was hanging out with the train guys, doing a stream, finishing putting the heat bed together, mounting the electronics, and getting it all wired up. And I did not have full success last night. The display wouldn't turn on. So let's set you back here. You still see? Oh, let me switch that so I can see. There we go. So the display wouldn't turn on. And thought it might be the power supply in the wrong power mode, you know, 220 versus 110, all that sort of jazz. Sorry if you're a little bit wiggly here, but you're sitting on a box of, well, you can see from the other camera, you're sitting on my pile of filament boxes. So that sent me into a panic because I couldn't, on the i3, I couldn't find the switch to switch from 110 to 220. Well, the new i3 power supplies don't have that switch. So unmounted the control board, checked all the fuses, pulled the wires off the INC board to make sure I didn't have anything crossed there, powered it back up, made sure that I had 24 volts coming out. I did. Plugged it back in, turned it back on, still nothing. Turns out I had the display wiring plugged into the wrong ports, of course, like usual. But I don't know if you can see that. We got lights, and we do have a display. We'll pick English. Following the manual, chapter, first steps. Calibration flow. Okay. Go to the menu. Go to calibration. Go to the wizard. Hey, original Prusa i3 printer. Yes, I would like you to guide me through that. Okay. Extruder fans on. Oh, it did run for a second. Print fans on. Well, left hot end fan was spinning. It was spinning. Oh, what? Alright. Now I hit the wrong thing. Okay. Reboot the printer. Alright. I don't think I can set this up with a good view of this display. We'll see. I'll get my little arm into the position. What does that look like? No, that looks horrible. It's like you gotta have the craziest angle to be able to see that. Okay, well, that's good enough. Hopefully I got enough clearance back there. Yes. Most common assembly problems. Extruder fan. That was that. Print fan. It's spinning. Left hot end fan is not spinning. Okay, that's what they mean. Front print fan is spinning. Okay. Checking the bed. should have brought my thermometer out here. Says it's okay. Ooh. Going left. All right. That's quiet. X-axis okay. Okay. It's checking the bed now. Bring the bed up to temp. It's getting warm. Okay. How hot are you going to get? You're getting nice and toasty. Wonder if it's got to come up to a certain temperature in a certain time, you think? Oh, filament sensor. Uh-oh. Wiring error. So either I got it plugged into the wrong hole or plugged in the wrong way. Make sure it didn't come unplugged in all my fiddling around. No. Alright, well, so now some more self-testing to do. I gotta run in and get the manual and we'll look at that wiring. Well, I can bring it in on the computer up here. Maybe. The online manual, but finish line. I wish that when you get to finish line, instead of give the author 30 points or whatever, you can have that, but have a page back to take me back up to the top so I can go into the next section. Electronics assembly, I believe is what I want. So, can I unplug this thing? Yeah, I can unplug that. And if I unplug that, that's not going to do anything. That's memory card reader. That's not going to hurt anything. Alright, let me get this down here where I can see it. Alright, so let's shut this off. Right there. Let that discharge. Unplug that. Spin that puppy around. Okay. Yeah, I didn't tighten anything up because of reasons. All right, I got it on the wrong. I thought I hit the bottom set of pins, and I hit the top set of pins. Okay. Well, let's try that again. So we'll put this back into its little hole there. You've got to go in there. You go in there. You're on there. Snap you on there. Tuck you back in there. Alright, I suppose we got to start the self-test all over again. Okay, but now you've seen the screen, so those are locked, of course. I'm going to say no. Okay. Settings. Move axis. Move Z. Let's get that up off the table first. Well, that's a lot quieter than the old one. All right. Calibration. Wizard. Yes. Okay. I'll bring you in a little closer so you can. We'll watch what's going on this time. So, fan was going, now the front fan's going. Whoops, damn it. And if I hit the right menu selection, okay, yeah, go. Fan's going. Front fan's going. Checking the hot end. So I guess while we're waiting, I'll tell you a little bit about how I got started in 3D printing. 2015 I got interested in 3D printing. A buddy of mine had built a Prusa Mendel, and I'd seen the results. They were not impressive, but I thought it looked interesting for building fixtures and jigs and other things for my N-scale model train building. So I started looking for a 3D printer that was not a kit, and I ended up with the M3D Micro, which was a Kickstarter at the time, and that was $149, but the nice thing was that it was take it out of the box, plug it in, install the drivers, and you're ready to go, quote unquote, air quotes here. And it did work. It took me probably a year, all of 2016, to figure out CAD, slicing software, settings on prints, speeds, how to build a model, just all, you know, the whole learning curve associated with everything around 3D printing. But in the end, I did get some good prints, and I did make some models. I had a 3D printed ground throw switch machine that I made, and got started on my 3D printed leg pocket assembly parts. We're testing the bed right now. And so I was impressed enough to figure out that it would do kind of what I wanted. You know, you could do structures, you could build fixtures for holding things and alignment pieces and that sort of stuff. Okay, so we're doing XY calibration now. It's going to take 12 minutes. Auto homing, calibrating Z. So the problem with the M3D Micro was it's extremely slow. It's got a funky build area, meaning that it's X by Y by Z for so much, and then it steps in because of the way the frame is, and the hot end is the steel sheet on the heat bit. No, and the hot end is that there's not. Whoops, sorry. Checking for a clean nozzle. Yes, it's clean. It's nothing been in it. Place a sheet under the a paper under the printer, and if it hits it, we're stopped. So what I'm using is an index card. These are my cards for my switch machine game. Alright, so we're going to do that. So anyway, the M3D Micro has a weird build area, unheated bed, so it can really only print PLA, extremely slow, also the hot end design has, let's just say, marginal cooling, both for part cooling and for the hot end cooling. And the interesting thing is, you know, it has some interesting things going for it. The extruder design is extremely tiny. The frame design is really nice. Interesting motion mechanism, although they tried to do too much, in my opinion, with that. But the drawback on the hot end design is that there's no active heat break area. So the bigger the part you print, the more heat creep there is in the nozzle, because the little fan is just not able to keep the top end cool. And eventually what I noticed was, doing like a bed full of parts once I got the thing printing, is that I had this brown spooge coming out the top of the nozzle, the hot end, and going everywhere, and messing up the prints and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, it was encouraging enough to get me started in 3D printing, and whet my appetite. So after my successful run with that, they announced the M3D Pro, and I signed up for that, thinking I would want I was happy with the one that I had, but they kept pushing back the release date and the release date, so I ordered a Prusa i3 Mark II, and got it before the Pro ever released. In fact, I got it a whole year before the Pro ever released. So after having a year's worth of experience, that was 2016, at the end of 2016. So I had all of 2017 with the i3 Mark II, and it's a fantastic printer. It was a kit, probably took me about 12 hours to build it total. Pleasant build, great instructions, great printer, quite frankly. And it highlighted some of the real deficiencies in that M3D Micro. And so I didn't cancel my order. I finally got the M3D Pro in, when was that? August of last year. Had it 2 days. It printed the first day and broke the second day. They sent me a new board because they were having static discharge problems. Put in a new board. It worked, but the heat bed would not turn off. I mean, it had no control. It just started heating as soon as you turned on the printer. The bed was warping as it got hot, and the firmware locked it up. So they sent me an RMA, I sent it back. They had it for 2 months. Got it back from them. It worked for a day, and one of the drive belts broke for the axes. And at that point, I put it up on Discord, advertised it for sale for 300 bucks. Somebody offered to buy it, so I sold it and threw in the M3D Micro with it, and ordered my i3 Mark III the next day. So that's how I got to here. Now, what do I use my 3D printer for? Well, all sorts of stuff. I mean, basically I am a machinist by trade, but I have lots of hobbies, woodworking, photography, but simple things like I 3D printed these brackets to hold this lamp strip up here. I printed crazy little things like bowls and baskets. Yeah. Tool holding fixtures. This is a jig to hold a fixture while you're filing. This is the jig right here. So that tool holds in there. I can hold it in my hand and it's not as fatiguing, or I can set this on a table to hold it. It just makes it nice. Let's see if I got some other prints up here. Oh yeah. The leg pocket pieces. So this is a part that holds a 1/2 inch piece of conduit, electrical conduit, and screws to the underside of a board, and the little lip holds it square. You can attach it with 4 screws. These little bumps are for set screws to keep the leg up in there, and you make legs for tables. We use it for our modular train displays, so you can detach the legs and set up and tear down really quickly. These have been really popular with the guys in the various clubs. So I've printed probably 150 of these, maybe more. So they're keeping me busy. And there's other pieces that go along with this. There's little feet that go on the end of carriage bolts and stuff that happen. Oh, just all sorts of stuff that you can build. And that's what I like 3D printing for. And that's what I do with my 3D printing. But prototyping, like I built myself a mostly printed CNC, which is basically an XYZ platform that you can mount whatever tool you want on it. You can mount a milling head, laser cutter, router, foam cutter, 3D printing head. You could make it an automated measuring system, or a garden bot, or pick and place machine, or anything you want. And it uses EMT tubing and roller skate bearings, and you go to town and make whatever you want with it. So the 3D printers are awesome for that, for customizing and just testing out whatever it is that you want to build. Plus I built some stuff for work, little adapters and holders and stuff. My other thing that I've done, I've got another printer, which is a Cetus, which is right here on the desk. And one of the things that I make with the Cetus, the nice thing about the Cetus is it has single piece nozzles, so they're easy to replace, and you don't have to have it hot to replace a nozzle. And I print little N-scale vehicles, and what I've been doing with that is taking Shapeway's 3D warehouse models that people have in there. They're not printable by any means, so you have to take them and build frames and enclose the bodies and make the wheels attached and a bunch of other things. There's a lot of work to make them printable, but they're good starting points for models for whatever kind of vehicle, at least a lot of different vehicles that you can't find commercial models for online. And the other thing is that, like commercially made models, let's take this little Ford pickup. So that little Ford pickup, it's $8.95 for 2 of those. They're pre-painted and everything. That's a Classic Metalworks, I think, or Classic Miniatures. But if I need 20 cars to put in a parking lot or in a fleet type situation where you're going to have a lot of delivery vehicles labeled for a certain business or industry, that's a lot of money in just little vehicles. And especially if they're going to be in like a junkyard, they don't need to be really detailed, because I'm going to cover them for here in the Northwest. They're going to have rust, dents, be covered with blackberry bushes more than likely. So you just need the shape of a vehicle to give indication of what's under there. So the N-scale 3D printed vehicles work really, really well for that. So anyway, I don't know if anybody's watching. Let me go over here, check. I don't think there is. Oh, there he is. There are. Mike is in the chat, and 2448 Toyman. Howdy. I'm not printing yet. I'm doing the calibration on it. So the power issue, Mike, was that I had the display wiring for this display up front plugged into the wrong ports on the motherboard. So I must have misread the instructions or just got them crossed over when I plugged them in. So right now it's calibrating. If you look at the bed, there's these dotted line circles. Well, in each one of those circles and at 3 more points around the bed, there's a pad that's etched into the heating element pattern, and so the head is using this probe on the side to detect the location of those bed points. And on the original Prusa i3 Mark II, that was what determined or told you how square the frame was to the bed, so the X frame, how square it was to the Y frame, to make sure that your prints would turn out square. And that probe also is used to set the height of the print head above the bed. So when it does this bounce up and down, it's detecting the height. So it's improving the bed calibration. On the old one it used to do 9 points. This one it just does the 4 because I'm assuming we're holding these to tighter tolerances. Okay, now it's asking for the steel bed. Woo! Snap that on there. Okay. Oh, now it's going to do the 9-point reference. So now we're calibrating the height. So it does a... Boy, this thing is quiet. Congratulations. All the axes are perpendicular. Everything's complete. Hurrah! Have a gummy bear. Okay. Well, no, filament is not loaded. So now it's going to preheat. It's raising it up. It's going to preheat for PLA. Oh, I'm going to put some PLA in there. I've got the Prusa silver that came with the printer. Now, unfortunately, I don't have room enough above the printer to be able to use their snazzy little spool holder arm thing. Oh, that's heating up fast. Put that by the door. Yeah. That is a big spool. I guess I'll be taking garbage out here in a little bit. Jan's ready for something to eat, so let's get this show on the road here. Need to trim the end of this. It says put it into there. Says it's loading. I don't hear anything. I see it turning. It's not grabbing it. What's going on here? No, it did not grab it. Sorry. Yeah, okay, you go ahead. Well, you didn't ask me if my stuff's in there. Okay, Joseph, if you're gonna load the filament during the test procedure, ask me if the filament loaded correctly. Because it didn't. Well, yeah, you just go ahead and run a line there. Okay, sorry guys, I gotta move. Yeah. Move axis. Move X. Okay, I think that you guys are too tight is the problem. Okay, maybe a half turn. Maybe another half turn. All right. Let's hit preheat PLA. So apparently I wasn't pushing down hard enough to get the filament into the extruder gears. Okay. Ah, there we go. Loading filament. You're still moving? No. Say no. Okay, you're not moving. I'm going to tighten you guys up some more. Okay, getting some filament out. It's silver. Yes. Okay, so now we're going to go back to calibration. First layer calibration. Yes. All right, so now we're doing first layer calibration. And it runs this height calibration every time it starts a print. Oh, yeah. Okay, we need our Z to go down quite a ways. That looks good. Yeah. Yeah. Could be a little more squished. Oh yeah, that's perfect. as a little fill-in at the end. Okay. I'd say that's real nice. I got all my tools up here now. Ooh. So, because I don't want to wait for this to cool down, peel that off. Let's see if we got a test print. We got Buddy, Adelinda Dragon, a Benchy, a Whistle. You know, I've never printed the Whistle. Let's print the Whistle. It's a quick print. Print. Alright. Man, this thing is quiet. Yeah, I don't know that you guys could see down in there. First layers look awesome. Yeah, I can see what Lauren is talking about, that you need a beeper or buzzer or a tone or something to, well, you can send text to your phone with Octoprint to tell you your print's done. Okay, we're done with the skirt around the outside, so that's good. How did you get so crooked, little buddy? That's so weird. Well, crooked than I set you up. Oh well. Yeah, I haven't turned on any of the power, panic, you know, the print recovery. I don't know that the filament sensor is on because I haven't gone through the menu yet to look at that. But we'll let this print and see how it turns out. See if it actually makes noise. That's pretty cool. No smoke, Mike. Yeah. So yeah, 2 wiring errors. Display and the filament sensor. I can move the camera a little closer so you can see what's going on a little better instead of the overview. Kind of see what's going on in there? Yeah, not really. You can get right down on the deck and look in there. It's hard to see. Hard to get a dangle on the angle there. You can kind of see it going. These guys up here, this map, and I haven't even updated the firmware yet. So that'll be the next thing to do, is once this print finishes, update the firmware, make sure that's all done. And then I'll order my, well, I do have 2 more Raspberry Pis. I have 2 more Raspberry Pis here that I can add. It won't be the built-in one, but I can set it up temporarily till Joe Mike sends me one of the internal ones with a new case, and then we'll add that. even know if you guys can hear the fans on the microphone or not. The stepper drivers are very, very, very quiet. Once I upgrade the firmware, I should probably do a calibration check, although with my original Prusa I never had to adjust any steps, extruder steps, never had to do any compensation for X or Y as far as how big parts printed out. But we'll print a couple test cubes and put it through its paces, make sure everything's kosher. Power supply does not feel, it feels warm, but it's not hot. Rambo case is normal. I don't smell anything. Now, the one thing I didn't do was do a hot tighten of the hot end before I started doing this, so I'll have to remember to do that before I print too much stuff. That nozzle may be tight, but it may not be heat tight, and that will let the nozzle leak a little bit as it's printing and eventually cause it to clog and do nasty stuff. Oh, we're coming to the opening part of the whistle. Woo. And I'll have to fire up the Mark II and print a whistle on it as a comparison. Put the camera in the same location, and I'll let you guys hear the difference between the two. Let's see if anybody's on chat. Figure that out. I'm in multiple software. So it'll be interesting when it goes to bridge across all that opening. So let me swing you guys around to the other side. Kind of see. Big opening in there. It's got a bridge across that opening when it goes to fill in the top. That will be interesting to see how well this new cooling, the fan cooling shroud does with that. I'll have to raise you up just a little bit. I don't know if that's a better angle or not. So we're at 32% of the print being done, supposedly. And I never know if that's 32% in height, in G-code file size. It's certainly not necessarily filament usage. It could be. Never quite figured that out, what that is. I would assume that because it's reading it from an SD card, it's the file size that it's telling you. Could do something super tricky. Build another one of those. Well, let's go till we get to 50%, and I'll change the filament and put on some of this gold. So we'll have a two-tone whistle. That'll be fun. It's down here. At 41%. It's going pretty fast, 42, 43%. Each layer is a couple percent maybe. It's got to jump at 44%. Now it's going to do the little at the other side. 45%. And those are some beautiful looking layers. %. So right here I'm going to go to change filament, wait for it to finish, press the knob, okay, it's unloaded. Yes, it was unloaded successful. Pressing the knob, we're putting the new filament in. It's extruding. Oh, that's a beautiful looking little curl right there. Come on. About done? Okay. Yes, filament change is good. Grab it as it goes. Alright, so we got gold in there now. Got a little bit of a overhang where it started there, which is to be expected because it oozed just a tiny bit as it was traveling from the corner where I did the color change out to the rest of the whistle. Well, that was smooth. Oh yeah, that's looking good. I'm glad you showed it up in the mic, up in the chat, Mike. 57%. Then I'm going to have some lunch, dinner, whatever. We'll go run in and tell Jan that we're almost done, and I'll be right back. It's still here? Yay! Still printing? Yay! Oh, my back. Oh, it's looking good. We're at 75% now. Oh. So in case you guys are wondering why I need so many printers, the idea is that the i3 Mark III will be left as a single extruder printer set up with basically a hardened nozzle and be used for a hardened 0.4 nozzle, or I have my my nozzle fun pack that I can swap out the nozzles, and this will be the do-it-all multi-purpose machine. The old Mark II, I have the 2.5 upgrade ordered for it, and that will give me the removable bed plate. Still be 12-volt electronics, but it'll give me the new extruder head with the Bondtech gears, filament sensor. I don't know if it removes the end stops or not. No, it probably doesn't, because it's not the INSI board. It gives me the new fans, a new Pinda Pro. It must give me some of this. It gives me the filament sensor, gives me the new Pinda probe, still the old stepper drivers, new extruder, and new heat bed. And then that one will get the multi-material upgrade, so it'll be able to handle 4 different colors at once. It won't do color mixing, but you can swap, or you can do like a cheap support material and use your fancier filaments just for the model, or use a specialized support material that breaks free easier, or water dissolvable, or whatever. Give me more capabilities. So this one will remain my prototyping for all my new models and stuff, and then the MMU will be additional production, and my fancy, like my little candy stripe, multicolor prints, my maker coins, and all the fancier stuff that I want to do. And the Cetus will be still, it's got the 0.2mm nozzle, so it'll be for the small N-scale vehicle models. They're just PLA anyway, and they're tiny size, so that one works well. And then I have the Zone Star, which will give me 2-color mixing capability, which in itself is interesting. So, and all 3 of them can print the same, you know. So I've got 3 basically i3 size machines. So if I need to print leg pocket parts and just need a bunch of them at once, I can do that pretty easily. It gives me a little more production. Okay, we're at 86%. I'm guessing that at about 92%, 93%. It's going to bridge because it's got about 6, well, at least 4 top layers, maybe 6 top layers. Now that's different. That's some fast moves. That was the first bridging move right there at 90%. That looks terrific. %. 93%. That's the top. It's got a logo or something that it's putting on the top. Prusa Research, maybe? %. go. Oh, Joe Prusa. JP on the top of that. Oh, looks good. Alright. And yes, I could pull the flex plate off, but I just want to get it off of there. Huh, look at that. Silver, gold. Nice. Looking down inside there. Now the bridging looks pretty good. You know, wow, the top layers look really, really good. And there's the bottom layers. That is beautiful. Wow, that's loud. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, it works. It's working. I'll do the firmware upgrade and do some more tuning and make sure everything else is fine and dandy. Thanks for dropping by. We'll see you later.